Imagine a creature so tough, so relentless, and so intelligent that it has pushed one of the world's most developed nations into a full-blown wildlife crisis. That creature is the wild boar in the United States today. Feral hogs are not just an invasive species, they are a national problem. Their population has exploded to well over 6 million, spread across more than 35 states. What makes them so dangerous is not only their aggression in the wild, but also the unimaginable destruction they leave behind wherever they roam. Every year, wild boars cost the United States an estimated $2.5 billion in damages. That number is staggering, but when you look closer at the way these animals operate, it begins to make sense. A single herd can uproot acres of crops in one night. Cornfields carefully nurtured for months can be flattened into ruin by morning. Irrigation systems, fences, and even farm equipment are destroyed as they trample and root through the soil. Fertile farmland is transformed into scarred wasteland overnight. For farmers who live season to season, such destruction can mean financial collapse. But this crisis doesn't stop at agriculture. Boars are notorious for attacking livestock, competing with deer and turkey for food, and spreading diseases that can infect both animals and humans. Their rooting behavior digs deep trenches, tearing apart ecosystems, eroding soil, and muddying streams. In Texas and Florida, water quality has been compromised in rivers where herds wallow, contaminating freshwater sources with bacteria. The frightening part is how quickly their numbers multiply. A single sow can give birth to 2 litters every year, each with up to a dozen piglets. Within just a few years, one small family can turn into hundreds. Unlike most wild animals, which require very specific conditions to survive, boars adapt to almost anything. Forests, grasslands, wetlands, farmland, even suburban neighborhoods, they can thrive in all of them. They are clever enough to avoid traps, change their feeding patterns if they sense danger, and even travel at night to evade human detection. It's no wonder experts describe them as one of the most destructive invasive species in North America. So, how did it get this bad? The story begins centuries ago. Spanish explorers first introduced pigs to North America in the 1500s as a source of food. Over time, many escaped into the wild, where they thrived. Later, European settlers and hunters imported wild boar from overseas for sport hunting, not realizing the ecological disaster they were unleashing. These wild boars interbred with domestic pigs, creating the feral hybrids we face today, animals larger, tougher, and far more cunning than their ancestors thought. By the 20th century, their population had spread across the South. But in the last few decades, the problem has gone national. Warmer winters, fewer predators, and abundant food sources have fueled their growth. Now, wild boars are marching northward and westward, invading states that never had them before. The question remains, what's the solution? Traditional methods like fencing and trapping help, that they cannot keep pace with the astonishing speed of boar reproduction. That's why large-scale hunting and modern wildlife management have become necessary. Hunting feral hogs is no longer just a sport. It's a defense strategy. Across Texas, Oklahoma, Georgia, and other heavily affected states, coordinated operations are underway. Night hunts using thermal scopes turn the battlefield into glowing silhouettes of moving targets. Aerial hunting from helicopters has become one of the most effective, allowing hunters to track and eliminate entire sounders in open fields. Specialized teams with dogs chase the boars through forests, while trappers use corral-style enclosures that capture dozens at a time. And yet, even with these measures, the war is far from won. Wildlife agencies stress that eradication may be impossible. Instead, the goal is containment and damage control. Some states now allow year-round hunting of feral hogs with no bag limits. Farmers are urged to report sightings immediately, and high-tech solutions like GPS tracking collars, remote trigger traps, and drones are being deployed. But this isn't just about protecting crops. It's about saving ecosystems and defending communities. If left unchecked, wild boar populations threaten to drive out native species, spread deadly livestock diseases, and destroy watersheds relied upon by millions of Americans. Experts warn that their impact could soon become irreversible. For farmers, this battle is about survival. For hunters, it's a call to protect both land and livelihood. And for the nation, it has become a fight against one of the most resilient invaders in American history. The wild boar crisis is a reminder that not every threat comes from beyond borders. Sometimes it grows silently in the fields, forests, and waterways we call home. And as long as these animals continue to breed, adapt, and outsmart the very people trying to stop them, the fight will rage on. The wild boar is not just a problem. It is a relentless enemy, an enemy that America cannot afford to ignore.
If you'll enjoy this video, please like and subscribe my channel for more information.